Tonight, concerns raised around JobKeeper changes, but some local businesses say they're fighting fit. And crucial Spencer Golf Industries provided a boost to stay afloat over the next decade.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Hubar begins now.
Good evening. One job for every 28 South Australians on JobSeeker. Those are the new sobering figures released by the Australian Council of Social Service as the government begins to wind back supplements. While some regional businesses are struggling though, it's a different story in Port Lincoln with a handful of businesses crying out for staff.
An afternoon rush at Port Lincoln's iconic fresh fish place, with business booming.
It's unbelievable actually. You would have never have expected this to happen if you were sitting here in February.
Craig, like many other eateries, were left devastated when COVID restrictions came in, forcing him to lay off staff. The eatery now turning over more than 200 customers a day, with dozens more coming in to purchase seafood.
So they have been record weeks for the last 2 months compared to same time last year.
Getting bums on seats is their bread and butter, but they say they're in desperate need for more workers to help keep up with demand.
We're just almost overwhelmed.
It's similar scenes across Port Lincoln, with tourists and locals booking out hotels and filling restaurants, a welcome sight bucking the national trend. According to the Australian Council of Social Service, there's one job available for every 28 people on JobSeeker in regional South Australia. But Port Lincoln owner Craig McCarthy says that's not the case in the seafood capital, with the school holidays also attracting more visitors to the region.
In one way, it's really exciting. Another way, it's stressful because not enough staff, because you've got to keep your service there. And plus, I'm still a bit concerned about the future.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
South Australia's food, wine and agricultural industry could increase by billions of dollars over the next 10 years. The state government today releasing a new strategy plan aiming to grow the industry, which supports thousands of jobs.
Good news for farmers doing it tough, rocked by a year of drought, fires and now coronavirus. The new Growth State Initiative set to support the sector with 76,000 South Australians working in it.
This announcement by the state government, they actually see this as the pathway to the new South Australia as well as our historical foundations.
This is something that has been part of the Marshall Liberal government's strategy to strengthen the state economy generally, but it is even more important following COVID-19.
Today launching the industry-led plan aiming to grow the state's food, wine and agricultural industry to $23 billion by the end of 2030. The plan focuses on 6 key components revolving around expansion and innovation.
I think this is eminently achievable. Increasingly the world is looking to Australia for clean, green, quality product. We have all the technology in place and we'll develop more.
Over the 2018 to 2019 period, South Australian primary industries and agricultural businesses brought in over $15.2 billion. The government says working together with these vital economic industries is key to see our largest export sector continue to grow.
The state government will be helping businesses to develop their expertise on the ground to meet the exact requirements of those markets. I think it's a pretty exciting time.
All regions will benefit out of this strategy, so it's very much working with industry, working with the grain growers, the dairy farmers.
More information can be found online. Sophia Contigonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 23-year-old Port Lincoln man has been charged with trafficking a controlled drug and cultivating cannabis. On Thursday, police raided a home, allegedly finding 50 grams of methamphetamine, cannabis plant seeds and drug paraphernalia. The man was refused bail and is due to appear again in March. Still to come tonight, a boost for students looking to study engineering, with UniHub getting involved. And new data released on the state of snapper stocks in the region. Hello again. Hopes for a lift of the snapper fishing ban anytime soon have been scuttled, with stocks in the Spencer Gulf found to be at an all-time low. The state government releasing fresh research almost a year on from when the contentious ban was brought in.
The controversial snapper ban rocking the fishing industry's boat. The tough decision backed by fresh evidence by the SA Research and Development Institute revealing the species is in desperate need of replenishing.
It is concerning here in the Spencer Gulf and Gulf St Vincent, and I believe that the data indicates that it's the lowest on record, and they do use a number of different measures.
Some community leaders still raising their concerns for the local fishing and tourism sector.
But even if they're allowed to have one or two per boat would be ideal. But certainly we've got to make certain we do not deplete the stocks, but a 3-year basically closure is a long way.
The newly appointed Minister for Primary Industry says the ban will remain in place.
It doesn't look like the numbers are likely to turn around anytime soon, so we do need to make sure we rebuild those snapper numbers to make sure the fishery is sustainable for the future.
Originally calling for a review into the ban, Eddie Hughes now says more could be done.
The data is concerning, and we should manage our fish stock in a conservative way.
The research comes off the back of a major industry restructure, with the state government currently offering fishing licence buybacks.
Fishers themselves choose to remain, but also making sure that the fishery itself is sustainable.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A 26-year-old man has been arrested and charged after he was caught allegedly riding dangerously around Wyler Stewart. Police received reports of a motorcycle driver allegedly speeding, driving on the incorrect side of the road and riding on the footpath, narrowly avoiding pedestrians. The man's due to face court again in November. An 18-year-old man has been ordered to face court after allegedly driving erratically in the Moonta area. Police received numerous reports of a person hooning and located the vehicle without number plates on the Spencer Highway Thursday afternoon. The driver had allegedly attempted to evade patrols and was located on Ryan Road. Police arrested and charged him with breaching learning conditions and driving unregistered. Aspiring regional engineers will have access to heavily subsidised university courses as part of a state government initiative. UniHub Spencer Gulf is encouraging those interested to apply quickly, with only a limited number of grants available.
The Spencer Gulf is renowned for its heavy industries, including GFG Alliance's steelworks and Near Star smelters. Now aspiring engineers can study closer to home with a new scheme offering a heavily subsidised engineer bachelor's degree.
Grant funding through the South Australian Government, the Skilling SA program, that'll help us to be able to subsidise the cost of tuition for students who are enrolling in the Associate Degree of Engineering through UniHub.
Engineering is a really exciting degree. Graduates are open to a whole range of career options across a whole range of industries.
The initiative being offered to regional students and is described as life-changing, expected to save students thousands of dollars.
Cost of university a lot more affordable. So the subsidy that we'll be able to offer to students will basically knock out probably close to half of the cost of the core units.
Businesses are also getting involved in showing their interest to upskill current employees.
Very excited about being able to offer the Associate Degree in Engineering in the region. We've had really strong interest from local industry and businesses, which is really exciting.
Existing employees who are really keen to upskill, so this is really good news for them. It makes it really, really affordable.
There's only limited numbers of grants available, so those interested are encouraged to get in fast.
So if anyone's keen to apply, so we're looking at, school leavers, existing workers, businesses that are keen to upskill their workforce. Come into the UniHub or give us a call, go online.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Find out how the council's water rebate scheme is faring for local sport clubs. And all the colour and action from footy grand finals over the weekend. We'll have the thrills and the spills. Hello again. A popular wireless soccer club planning to shut its doors indefinitely because of the impacts of COVID-19 has been saved by the City's Council. The board offering further relief to sporting clubs most in need, providing ongoing funds to help pay for their water bills.
Heading its way into the possibility of no return, Whyalla City Council swooping in to the rescue.
The COVID-19 stretch, it's been pretty tough on clubs like ours.
The pandemic forcing several regional clubs, including Whyalla's Still United, to close its doors to the public. As a result, clubs are now left with the burden of paying for ongoing bills.
We've had to shut the doors over part of it, so it's been really hard.
But Whyalla Council is continuing to offer help. That help to assist clubs who have had to maintain grounds throughout the closures. The government released a water relief grant covering 50% of eligible clubs' bills between April to June. Council matching the offer, making funding available to cover the remaining 50%.
The support we've received from Council has been amazing. They've issued us with almost $4,000 in terms of the water relief. They've also helped us out with some rebates on our council lease and the lease of the training pitches we use.
This is just another example of the Whyalla City Council aiming to support the community during this pandemic.
Whyalla's Still United Soccer Club, a key part of the city. Operating for just over 50 years, the club says its pitch is a very important asset.
We've got over 100 juniors playing for Still United Soccer Club and 50 senior players as well. These grounds are very important to our lifeblood.
With almost $14,000 already allocated to Whyalla clubs and associations in need, Council is dedicated to helping the community thrive.
If you are a club or an association and are being directly affected by COVID-19, we ask that you contact the Council office and we can talk to you about the support options available.
More information is listed on Council's website. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
After a tumultuous 2020, it was a super Saturday at footy grand finals across our region. In Port Lincoln, Tasmans were up against Waybacks. Crowds packed the stands while hundreds tuned in online. Nathan Richter has all the thrills and spills from the weekend matches.
The Roosters and the Demons were the leading teams this season, so this match was shaping up to be a classic grand final contest. Waybacks won the toss and kicked to the northern end first up. It was a hard-fought battle early on, with Yowie Wagner drawing first blood for Tasman.
That's straight through the middle.
Cody Mason took this fantastic mark off a point-to-point pass, the resulting goals giving the Roosters an early jump in the score, rattling way back early on.
That's his first goal of the day, the second for Tasmans.
Lewis George eventually putting the Demons on the scoreboard. It was a tight first quarter, but Tasman stamped their authority on the game in the second term, kicking 3 goals to none. Some hard tackles and good use of the wind saw Billy Habish land this gutsy mark as Tasman started to build a healthy lead. Waybacks cracking under the premiership pressure, with the game starting to get away from them. A sensational mark by Ben Daniels, giving the Roosters a 4-goal lead half-time.
Talking about Waybacks, they're a little bit slow, they're a little bit sloppy, and Tasmans are right on their money with their passing and they are tackling hard.
The ball just wasn't bouncing Waybacks' way while their forwards struggled to compete against the dominant Roosters' defence. Yowie Wagner put the Roosters further in front, however Jolty still gave the Demons a fighting chance heading into the final term.
He puts it straight down the middle.
The pressure getting to Waybacks, making mistakes which they couldn't afford. Tasmans finishing the game strongly, keeping the Demons scoreless in the final term, on their way to winning the match by 24 points.
Just with everything that's gone on this year, it's been one of the toughest years as a coach. Still the organising that goes into it, couldn't be prouder of the boys.
The Roosters are on their way to building a dynasty, with this the 3rd year in a row they've won the premiership.
Last year I never thought I'd be in another grand final, but turns out we are, and you got to make the most of it when you are in it.
More than 2,300 people flocked to the ground throughout the day, with hundreds more tuning in online. In the Northern Areas Football League, Broughton Mundura swept the juniors, the B grade and the A grade. They won the senior premiership 74-44 against Orroroo, Gene Robinson kicking 6 for the winners. Further north, South Augusta won their 5th consecutive SGL premiership, defeating the Lions in Port Pirie by 42 points. And there was a bit of an upset win on Whyalla footy grand final, with 3rd place Centrals taking out the premiership by 15 points over minor premier West Whyalla. It was the Dragons' first loss of the year. So congratulations to all the winners and commiserations to those teams defeated. That's another football season done and dusted, a season that was very different to anything we've ever witnessed. And with the weather warming up, cricket will soon be here.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll have the weather with Britt. Hello again. Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Louise, and good evening. We saw partly cloudy conditions across the region today, with maximum temperatures mostly around average, but up to 2 degrees below average towards the south coast. Port Lincoln and Clare both recorded tops of 18 degrees today, with Broken Hill reaching 19. 26 was the high at Woodna. It reached 24 degrees at Port Augusta, Whyalla, Port Pirie, Kadina, Cleve and Coffin Bay. And over in Adelaide, it got to a top of 22 degrees today. From the satellite, we can see a little bit of cloud activity about the Spencer Gulf, but to our west, thick cloud under a broad trough triggering showers and some thunderstorm activity. Moving on now to tomorrow, northeasterly winds on the Gulf waters at 15 to 20 knots, but reaching 20 to 25 knots in the south. Seas at 1 to 1.5 metres, increasing to up to 2 metres in southern waters, and south to southwesterly swells below 1 metre. Showers expected at Port Lincoln tomorrow, looking at a high of 19 degrees. Cleve and Woodna both with showers and tops of 20. Showers for Whyalla, Port Augusta and Kadina tomorrow, all with tops of 21 degrees. Strong winds easing about the York Peninsula. Port Pirie, showers and a top of 20 degrees tomorrow. Clare, showers and 17. Broken Hill, partly cloudy with late showers and a top of 24 degrees. Taking a look further ahead through the week now, fine and partly cloudy across the region on Wednesday. A top of 25 degrees expected at Port Augusta. Woodna and Broken Hill both with tops of 24, Whyalla 23, tops of 21 for Port Pirie and Kadina, Port Lincoln 20, Adelaide 19. Still partly cloudy on Thursday, but maximums a little warmer, looking at a top of 29 degrees at Port Augusta and Woodna, Whyalla and Broken Hill both 26, Port Pirie 25, a top of 23 degrees for Kadina, Port Lincoln 21, and Adelaide 21 degrees for when the Power take on the Cats at Adelaide Oval. And finally, to Friday, warm and sunny across the board. Woodna looking at a top of 36 degrees, Port Augusta 35, a top of 33 degrees for Whyalla, Port Pirie 32, Broken Hill with a top of 31 degrees, Port Lincoln 30, Kadina and Adelaide both 29 degrees. And Louise, with that, it's back to you.
Lovely, thanks Britt. And before we leave you tonight, here is a very curious shark which met tourists face to face during a cage dive near Port Lincoln on the weekend. The inquisitive creature getting up close and personal with those on board Calypso Star charters. A little too close for comfort, the shark tried to have the boat for lunch. Meanwhile, in a separate incident filmed on Adventure Bay charters, another did find lunch in the form of a floating whale carcass. And that wraps up tonight's bulletin. That's your local news for this evening. Thanks for joining us. We'll have updates later. Until then, have a lovely evening. Good night.